Imagine you buy your dream house, move in with your family, and within weeks you're fleeing in terror, leaving everything behind. Sound like fiction? Well, for some families, this nightmare became reality. Today we're diving into real haunted houses where the paranormal activity was so intense. It was documented, investigated, and in some cases, never fully explained. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm here to take you on a journey through some of the most genuinely disturbing haunted house cases in history. These aren't Hollywood ghost stories or urban legends passed down through generations. These are real families, real experiences, and real evidence that something unexplainable was happening. So grab a coffee, maybe check that your doors are locked, and let's get started. The Amityville Horror House. Let's start with probably the most famous haunted house in America, 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everyone knows this story was debunked as a hoax, right? Well, hold on, because the reality is more complicated than that. First, the undeniable facts. In November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family in this house, his parents and 4 siblings, all shot while they slept. The crime scene was so disturbing that it shook the entire community. Fast forward 1 year, and the Lutz family moves in, getting the house at a bargain price because of its dark history. What happened next depends on who you ask. The Lutzes claimed they experienced 28 days of pure terror. Cold spots that would make your breath visible, doors and windows opening on their own. Strange odors that came and went without explanation. George Lutz said he would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every night, the exact time of the murders. Here's where it gets interesting. In 1979, George and Kathy Lutz took polygraph tests about their experiences. The tests were administered by Chris Gugas and Michael Rice, who were considered among the top polygraph experts in America at the time. Rice concluded that the results did not indicate the Lutzes were lying. Now, polygraphs aren't foolproof, and skeptics rightfully point this out. But here's what's harder to explain away. Multiple witnesses reported strange experiences at the house both during and after the Lutzes lived there. Police officers responding to calls reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread. Even skeptical investigators admitted that something felt fundamentally wrong about the place. Was it all psychological trauma from the murders, mass hysteria, or something else entirely? The debate continues, but one thing's certain: that house left an impression on everyone who entered it. The Winchester Mystery House. Now let's head west to San Jose, California, where we find one of America's strangest architectural mysteries, the Winchester Mystery House. Built by Sarah Winchester, widow of gun manufacturer William Winchester, this isn't just haunted, it's a physical manifestation of one woman's obsession with the supernatural. After her husband and infant daughter died, Sarah became convinced she was cursed by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. A medium told her she needed to continuously build onto her house to confuse the spirits and keep them at bay. So that's exactly what she did. For 38 years straight, construction never stopped. The result is a 7-story maze of 160 rooms, with staircases that lead to ceilings, doors that open onto walls, and hallways that dead-end into nothing. Sarah held seances in a special room every night, supposedly receiving building instructions from friendly spirits. But here's where documented evidence comes in. Multiple construction workers over the decades reported seeing figures in period dress walking through walls. Tools would disappear and reappear in impossible locations. The house seemed to have its own acoustic properties. Whispers could be heard in empty rooms, and footsteps echoed from floors with no one on them. Even today, tour guides and visitors report experiences. Cold spots in specific rooms, the sound of piano music when no one's playing, and the distinct feeling of being watched. The Winchester Mystery House has been investigated by countless paranormal researchers, and while opinions differ on the source, most agree that something unusual happens within those walls. What makes Sarah's story particularly compelling is that she wasn't seeking attention or profit from her ghost stories. She was a private woman spending her own fortune based on her genuine belief in the supernatural. Whether the spirits were real or products of her grief-stricken mind, she created a monument to the possibility that death isn't the end. The Lemp Mansion. Let's talk about St. Louis and the Lemp Mansion, a place where tragedy and the paranormal seem to go hand in hand. The Lemp family built a brewing empire in the 1800s, but their success came with a terrible price. Between 1904 and 1949, 4 family members took their own lives in this mansion. William Lemp Sr., his son Billy, another son Charles, and finally William Lemp III. Each death added another layer of darkness to an already heavy atmosphere. The mansion's paranormal activity is extensively documented because it now operates as a restaurant and inn. Staff members have kept detailed logs of unexplained events over decades. These aren't random ghost stories. They're consistent, repeated experiences reported by employees, guests, and visitors who often have no prior knowledge of the mansion's history. The most frequently reported phenomena include the piano in the bar playing by itself, not just random notes, but actual melodies. Multiple guests have recorded these incidents. Doors throughout the mansion open and close on their own, often in sequence, as if someone is walking through the building. In the Lemp family's former private quarters, guests report seeing a man in a brown suit, a description that matches historical photos of William Lemp Sr. What makes this particularly credible is that witnesses describe details about the man's appearance and clothing that match historical records they couldn't have known about. The restaurant staff rotation is telling. Many employees don't last long, not because of poor working conditions, but because of the unsettling experiences. Cold spots appear suddenly in specific locations, the elevator operates on its own, and guests frequently report feeling like they're not alone in their rooms. Eastern State Penitentiary. Now, technically this isn't a house, but Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia deserves mention because of the sheer volume of documented paranormal activity. This former prison, which operated from 1829 to 1971, pioneered the concept of solitary confinement, leading to countless psychological breakdowns and, unfortunately, deaths. The prison is now a historic site and museum, which means there's an official record of paranormal reports. Tour guides, maintenance staff, and visitors have reported phenomena in specific locations consistently over years. This isn't folklore, it's documented, location-specific activity. Cell Block 4 is particularly active. Visitors frequently report seeing shadowy figures in cells, hearing voices speaking names, and feeling sudden temperature drops. What's remarkable is how consistent these reports are. The same cells, the same types of experiences, reported by people who have no contact with each other. The prison's audio tour equipment regularly malfunctions in specific locations. Electronic devices drain quickly in certain areas, and cameras often capture unexplained shadows and mists. Professional paranormal investigators have recorded electronic voice phenomena, hear disembodied voices responding to questions in real time. The most disturbing reports come from Al Capone's former cell. Multiple visitors have reported seeing a figure sitting on the bed or packing the small space. What makes this particularly interesting is that these sightings occur in a cell that's historically significant but not obviously marked as Capone's to casual visitors. Now, before we wrap up, let's address the elephant in the room. Are these houses actually haunted, or is there a logical explanation for all this activity? Skeptics point to several factors that could explain haunted house phenomena. Old buildings settle and creak, creating unexplained sounds. Electromagnetic fields from faulty wiring can cause feelings of unease and even hallucinations. Infrasound sound waves below human hearing range can trigger anxiety and the feeling of being watched. Psychological factors play a huge role too. When we know a place has a dark history, we're primed to interpret normal events as supernatural. Group hysteria can spread fear and false memories through entire families or communities. But here's what's harder to explain. Why do certain locations generate consistent reports over decades? Why do people who know nothing about a place's history report similar experiences? And why do some houses affect even skeptical investigators? The truth is, we don't have all the answers. What we do have are documented experiences from credible witnesses, consistent patterns of activity in specific locations, and a growing body of evidence that something unusual happens in certain places. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these houses represent something important: the intersection of history, psychology, and human experience. They remind us that some places hold onto their past in ways we don't fully understand. So there you have it, 4 real haunted houses where the activity has been documented, investigated, and in many cases, never fully explained. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, these places offer a fascinating look into the mysteries that still exist in our modern world. What do you think? Have you ever experienced something unexplained in an old boo?